Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today in this video we are going to learn more about literary theory and criticism through MCQs. Here are very important MCQs relating to this theory. Let us get into the video. First question. Plato said that art is twice removed from reality. Second question. The term hamartia used by Aristotle in his theory of tragedy means a weak trait in the character of a hero. Third question. The term peripecia used by Aristotle in his theory of tragedy means change in the fortune of the hero from good to bad. Fourth question. Anagnosis used by Aristotle in his theory of tragedy means the hero's recognition of his tragic flaw. Fifth question. What is denouement? The ending of a comedy. Sixth question. Stephen Gosson is the author of the notorious book entitled The School of Abuse. Seventh question. Who denounced poets as father of lies and caterpillars of commonwealth? Stephen Gosson. Eighth question. Sidney's apology for poetry is a defense of poetry against the charges brought against it by Stephen Gosson. Ninth question. It is not rhyming and versing that maketh a poet, no more than a long gown maketh an advocate. Whose opinion is this? It is Sidney's opinion. 10th question. The critical work of Ben Jonson is Discoveries. 11th question. Dryden's essay of dramatic poetry is a work of legislative criticism. 12th question. Dr. Johnson called Dryden the father of English criticism. 13th question. Preface to Lyrical Ballads of Wordsworth is believed to be the preamble to Romantic criticism. 14th question. Prosody means it's a science of verse forms only. 15th question. Joseph Addison said the tragic comedy, which is the product of the English theatre, is one of the most monstrous inventions that ever entered into your poetic thoughts. 16th question. Be Homer's works your study and delight, read them by day and meditate by night. Who gives this advice to the poets? Alexander Pope. 17th question. Dr. Johnson said the end of writing is to instruct, the end of poetry is to instruct by pleasing. 18th question. Poetry is emotions recollected in tranquility. Who has defined poetry in these words? William Wordsworth. 19th question. There neither is nor can be any essential difference between the language of prose and metrical composition. These words are said by William Wordsworth. 20th question. I write meter because I am about to use a language different from that of prose. Who says this? S.T. Coleridge. 21st question. Which of the critics has most elaborately discussed the concept of imagination? S.T. Coleridge. 22nd question. Matthew Arnold defines poetry as a criticism of life under the conditions fixed for such a criticism by the laws of poetic truth and poetic beauty. 23rd question. T.S. Eliot had divided literature into two divisions. 24th question. T.S. Eliot gave the concept of arts for art's sake. 25th question. For art's sake alone, I would not face the toil of writing a single sentence. These words are said by George Bernard Shaw. 26th question. Simile is a comparison between two things which have at least one point common. 27th question. Metaphor is a condensed form of simile. Here in this simile, two things are compared with the words using as and like. But in metaphor, there are no words as and like, but the comparison is condensed and clear. 26th question. Who opined that poetry is the most highly organized form of intellectual activity? T.S. Eliot. 27th question. Objective correlative. Disassociation of sensibilities. Unification of sensibilities are contributed to literature by T.S. Eliot. 28th question. Johnson Crowe Ransom is believed to be the pioneer of the so-called New Criticism. 29th question. T.S. Eliot is author of the work Tradition and the Individual Talent. 30th question. The art of using language effectively or impressively is called rhetoric. 31st question. A two-line stanza with two rhyming lines in iambic pentameter is called heroic couplet. 32nd question. The couplets in which the sense runs on from one couplet to another is called enzymed couplets. 33rd question. Terza rima is a run-on three-line stanza with a fixed rhyme scheme. 34th question. Rhyme-Roy stanza is a seven-line stanza in iambic pentameter. 35th question. Octava rima is an eight-line stanza in iambic pentameter with a fixed rhyme scheme. 36th question. Spenserian stanza is a nine-line stanza consisting of two quatrains in iambic pentameter rounded off with alexandrine. 37th question. Blank verse has a meter but no rhyme. 38th question. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement for the sake of emphasis. This is all for this video. Please share, like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you.